Hi loves, it's Lacey and welcome to our space. So today we are going to be making some DIYs that are perfect for your gazebo, your patio, your deck, your porch, and even you can use them in places like your sunroom or even on a balcony if you're in an apartment. And I am so excited because today's video is being sponsored by Cricut. I am going to be using my brand new Cricut Maker 3 for all of these DIYs. The Cricut Maker 3 is the latest in Cricut's new smart cutting machines. It is the top of the line machine that can cut over 300 different materials, and it utilizes Bluetooth so you can run it from your computer, your tablet, or your smartphone. This new machine utilizes smart materials and it can cut 2 times faster with smart materials that do not need a mat in order for you to use them in your machine. And it can also cut up to 12 feet of material at one time. This is so exciting, and the one thing that I really want to try out for this. So the smart materials that they have are smart vinyl, smart iron-on, and smart sticker back cardstock. We are going to be utilizing smart vinyl and iron-on here today, so let's get started. So as you can see here, I have some scrap wood that I had in my possession. It is a 1x10, about 6 feet long piece that I cut off the edges, and now I'm sanding down to make sure it's nice and smooth so it can accept some black matte paint. I have this paint so it can go outside, and we are going to be making a sign utilizing our new Cricut Maker. So first of all, we are opening up Cricut Design Space here on my computer, and I already composed the lettering for a sign myself, and I just am going to add it onto our mat. So what it says is, welcome to our gazebo, because we got a brand new gazebo this year after our one last year got destroyed. And then underneath that I wrote, what happens in the gazebo stays in the gazebo unless the neighbors call the cops. Myself and my boyfriend Chad think it's really funny. So now I have added that into Design Space and hit make it, and you can see here we have a preview of what our sign looks like. I made sure it's the right size to fit my board, and I'm going to hit continue. And then after that, it's going to tell me which kind of material I'm using, and I need to pick so that my maker knows how exactly to cut the material. Once I picked permanent vinyl, it tells me when to load the material, and here is the material that I'm going to be using. I'm going to use a white smart vinyl permanent, which means I do not need a mat to cut this. So I am going to load on this tray, which is a roll of vinyl holder or a roll of material holder that has a cutter on it for your machine, and I'm going to load in my permanent white smart vinyl. It simply goes into the tray and slides under the little grooves that helps hold it to the machine and down under the tabs, so it's easy for this big roll of vinyl to be able to feed in and out of the machine. So right now I have sped this footage up just a little to show you that the machine takes your roll of vinyl and it measures it to make sure you have enough material, and then pushes the rest of it out and then starts to cut. Here I've slowed it back down to regular time so you can see just how fast this machine is cutting this vinyl. I know that you need to have 10 inches behind your machine so the vinyl can come through, and from this perspective it may not look like I have 10 inches, but I do. And this is going to cut 5 feet, more than 5 feet actual, of vinyl for this sign that we are making. Yes, more than 5 feet. This machine can cut up to 12 feet at a time with the smart materials. And don't get me wrong, this machine also still can cut with a mat. All of the tools that you had for your regular maker machine will fit the Cricut Maker 3. So no worries whatsoever if you want to upgrade to this machine so you can cut with smart materials. You can still use all the tools that you had for your Cricut Maker in the past. And so as you can see, it's making quick work of it right now because I sped up the footage so you can see real quickly what the sign is going to be like. I was so excited to be able to cut a long piece of vinyl. You just don't know how excited I was because I totally forgot that there's a cutter on this tray and I could cut this right here before I unload it. But unfortunately, excitement got to me, and so I unloaded it before I cut it. I did put it back into the cutter and cut it. So now I have weeded this because it's so easy to weed. It's so big. You can just do it by hand. You don't even need a weeding tool. And I put down my transfer tape, my Cricut transfer tape on top of it. Also, I did have some excess material, so I cut it off. Now what I'm doing is I'm just measuring out to the middle of my sign so I can make sure that it is nicely centered in there and everything goes well. So I took a piece of masking tape and I cut it off of my roll, and then I'm going to cut off the adjoining piece to that and make sure that it is stuck down to my actual sign. I measured that to make sure I had the middle of it, and now I'm removing the backing with my actual vinyl on my transfer tape. Now this is a trick that I've done over and over again, even with shorter pieces. All you do is match up the two pieces of tape now, and that guarantees that your sign is always going to be centered. It's just that easy. So I'm going to be putting down the top portion of my sign. You can see I removed the bottom portion because it was just a little bit too long once I cut off the edges to make it more decorative on the ends. And so I had to cut the bottom off and remove the little parentheses that were on the side and the little dots because it didn't fit. So now I still have the same wording. It says, what happens in the gazebo stays in the gazebo unless the neighbors call the cops, but it's missing the parentheses on the side. This vinyl is so easy to work with, and it comes off the transfer tape. As you can see, it's very easy. Now here, I did not tape me cutting this part because I had some leftover vinyl because I did have, before I got this machine, the Cricut Explorer Air 2, and I've used it a lot for a lot of DIYs here on my channel and in just regular life. And so I had some leftover red and green pieces, and I decided to add some flowers to it. And this is what it looks like. We are in love with the sign on our gazebos. We've had several friends come over already and think it is just hilarious, and they are in love with the sign as well. Several people want me to make signs for their home, even if they didn't have a gazebo. And I just think it came out brilliantly. Now, if you want this to survive out in the winter months, because we're here in Michigan, I spray it with some clear coat enamel. That's what I'm doing with ours. And it should last for a very long time. And I cannot believe I made this. And I was so excited that I could cut a long piece of vinyl to make a sign that I cut another one for my front porch. And this is the same transfer tape that I used for the first sign. This sign says Home Sweet Home, and I just am taking off the transfer tape here so you can see that I added a little floral design on each end. And I'm going to save this transfer tape again because it's still good until it loses its stickiness. But I also did the same technique here, and I'm fixing my W just a little. It was a little wonky, but I used the blue painter's tape to make sure that my sign was placed in the middle, and this is what it looks like on my front porch. You can see this all the way from the street, and I am in love with this sign. It sits right over the top of my porch, and I know it's black and white and my house is blue, but we have a lot of black accents in the front of our home as well, like my glider that I have here, and it goes perfectly with our house. And on to DIY number 3. So I have been seeing these stay a while signs everywhere and on everything. So I created my own, and I'm going to upload it here into Design Space and then choose to cut it without a mat. And instead of using vinyl for this, I'm going to use Smart Iron-On. So I had to mirror my image, as you just saw, for the iron-on. And this is the iron-on that I'm going to be using. It is the gold glitter Smart Iron-On, and I am so excited to see how this is going to turn out. I have never used Cricut's iron-on in a glitter finish before, so this is a first for me, and I'm going to take you guys along for the ride. So for iron-on, you need to load it into your machine shiny side down. So the very glittery shiny side is down on this, and the machine is doing the exact same thing it did for our vinyl. It took the iron-on and measured to make sure you had enough material, and I sped up the footage here because no one wants to watch you cut vinyl over and over again, but this machine cut it perfectly and very quickly. And this time I took the tray off and then made sure I got as close to the iron-on as I could and cut it with the cutter on the tray, because I don't want to waste any of this iron-on. It is so pretty. I want to make sure I can use every last bit of it that I can. So as you can see, I sped this up just a little, but this is super easy to weed. I did not need any weeding tools. I just pulled it off by hand, and I'm not struggling at all for this. I'm just making sure that I get it off and I don't pull any of my actual design off. And I didn't have any issues whatsoever. You don't even need nails for this, even though I do have nails. And once I had that all weeded, I have an extra piece left over from it that I didn't want to waste, so I knew the perfect spot on the item that I wanted to place the iron-on on, to place a extra little heart that I'm cutting out just by hand out of the extra piece of iron-on. So as you can see, I have this pillow, and it was in my gazebo last year when my old gazebo got destroyed. I have laundered it, but that spot won't come out, and so I'm going to put it there. And I've set my Cricut Easy Press to the proper settings to use on this pillow, which is already stuffed. And yes, it is changing a few colors here, but it is not permanent. It's just warming up the pillow to prepare for my iron-on. Now, in order to get the perfect temperature for this pillow, you need to go to Cricut's Heat Guide, which is on Cricut.com under Heat Guide, and it will let you know that for this particular iron-on, I need to set my Easy Press to 330 degrees for 30 seconds each time. And I'm pressing down with quite a bit of pressure here because my pillow is filled. If my pillow wasn't filled, I wouldn't be pressing down as much. I would just use it on the pillow covered. But since it's filled, I want to make sure that this iron-on adheres to the pillow. And I'm lifting straight up and then putting straight down and doing the other side because, of course, my design is too big to fit completely under my Easy Press 2. But all it took was 30 seconds on each side, and this was done. Now, my little paper there was never really connected to the heart because it was already separate, but I used an extra piece to make sure that I could do the iron-on without damaging it. And I waited for this completely to dry before, or to cool, because it wasn't wet, to cool before I peeled that off because it will be extremely hot. And look how beautiful this turned out. I'm in love with this glitter iron-on. I cannot get over how it transformed this pillow. I want to put iron-on on everything. I want to put glitter iron-on everything. I'm going to make a shirt, a sweatshirt. I don't know. I may put it on the end of some curtains. Are you in love with this glitter iron-on like I am? Because I am in love with it. So on to our last DIY here. I have this little plant holder that I got from Joann Fabrics, and it was like 70% off. And I took some of the Smart Vinyl in the matte metallic permanent champagne color, and I cut out some butterflies. If you guys are here in your oldie but goodies, you know I had to have a butterfly somewhere in this video. They're my favorite. And so I did 2 of them. I put 1 on each side just in case this thing spun around in my gazebo, because I'm going to hang it from a chain. And then I took some floral foam. It's for real flowers, but that's all I really had in a circle for floral foam. And so I decided to go ahead and use it. I have my hot glue gun there because I thought I was going to go ahead and glue it down, but it wasn't really necessary. So what I did is I just took some succulent picks. Most of them are from Big Lots. These red ones and the last ones I put in are all from Big Lots. And then the front one that looks like a large air plant was from Dollar Tree. And that is all I did for this DIY. I added a chain on the top that was also from Dollar Tree that I used in a different project. And look how cute this is with these succulents just coming right out of this little planter, and my beautiful champagne colored butterfly on the front. And that completes our last DIY. So I want to thank Cricut again for sponsoring this video, and I am going to link their website down below so you can go out and check out which machine is perfect for you. I am using the Cricut Maker 3. It is the newest of Cricut makers that they have, but they also have the Explorer 3, which is the 3rd generation of the Cricut Explorer Air 2. They both utilize smart materials and can cut 2 times faster with the materials, up to 12 feet, and without a mat. And I'm pretty sure if you go over there, you're going to fall in love with one of them. And when you get your machine, you've got to let me know what your first project is you're going to do. Is it going to be something for outdoor, like your gazebo, your porch, or your patio? Is it going to be with the smart iron-on in the glitter gold? Because I want to see if it is. And that is it. If you are not subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, because not only am I going to be using more of this smart vinyl, I'm going to be showing you guys inside of this beautiful gazebo that we got from Home Depot this year. So I will catch you in my next video. Bye, loves.